1. The Alfetta 159 was the evolution of a championship-winning machine. The Alfa Romeo Alfetta 159, also known as the Tipo 159, was a direct evolution of the Alfa Romeo 158, one of the most successful Grand Prix cars of all time. Originally introduced before World War II, the 158 dominated racing both before and after the conflict. However, by 1951, with increasing competition from Ferrari and others, Alfa Romeo introduced the 159 as a significantly refined and more powerful version. The name Alfetta, meaning Little Alpha, referred to its compact yet potent design. Though visually similar to its predecessor, the 159 received extensive mechanical and performance upgrades. The car was improved specifically to handle higher power output, better suspension dynamics, and advanced braking systems. It retained the same straight-eight engine as the 158, but with far greater tuning potential, reaching an incredible 450 horsepower at its peak. Despite being a car with its roots in pre-war engineering, the 159 proved remarkably capable against newer machines. Its refined aerodynamics, enhanced handling, and Alfa's commitment to racing excellence ensured that the Alfetta 159 was not just a stopgap, it was a champion. In fact, it went on to win the 1951 Formula One World Championship, cementing its place in motorsport history as the end of an era before the sport was revolutionized by mid-engine design and new technologies. 2. The Alfetta 159 powered the first two Formula One World Champions. The Alfa Romeo 159 played a crucial role in launching Formula One's legacy as we know it today. It was the car that carried the legendary Juan Manuel Fangio to his first Formula One World Championship in 1951. This was only the second season of the Formula One World Championship, and Alfa Romeo, with the 158 in 1950 and the 159 in 1951, dominated both years. Fangio's championship in the 159 was historic not just for Alfa Romeo but for motorsport as a whole. He would go on to win 5 world championships, becoming one of the most respected and skilled drivers in racing history, and the 159 was his launching pad. The machine allowed him to express his remarkable car control, finesse, and racecraft in an era where reliability and mechanical sympathy were just as important as outright speed. The 159 was an example of old-school racing mastery meeting brilliant engineering. It represented the peak of front-engine Grand Prix design before technological evolution pushed the layout toward mid-engine formats. This championship also marked the last Formula One world title for Alfa Romeo, a poignant and proud moment in the company's legendary racing timeline. 3. ITS engine was one of the most powerful of ITS ERA. At the heart of the Alfetta 159 was its incredible 1.5-liter straight-eight engine, which produced an astonishing 450 horsepower, a huge output for its size and time. This figure was achieved thanks to an advanced two-stage supercharging system, which allowed massive amounts of air and fuel to be pushed into the engine cylinders. The engineering marvel of the 159 was how it could extract such high levels of performance from a relatively small displacement. However, this power came at a cost: efficiency and weight balance. The fuel consumption was notoriously high, so much so that the car needed multiple pit stops just to refuel during races, giving an advantage to rivals like Ferrari with more fuel-efficient naturally aspirated engines. But despite this flaw, the 159's raw speed was still nearly unmatched. The engine was also extremely complex and required constant attention and tuning. But when it was running properly, the 159 could reach over 300 km per hour, about 190 miles per hour, which was an astonishing speed for the early 1950s. It was truly an engineering masterpiece, a machine that pushed the very limits of what was mechanically possible at the time. 4. IT represented the end of and ERA in Formula One history. The Alfetta 159 was not just a racing car. It was the last great warrior of the pre-war Grand Prix tradition, fighting in a world that was rapidly evolving. It was a front-engine, supercharged, handcrafted machine, built using philosophies and techniques developed before World War II. But by 1951, the tide was beginning to turn. Ferrari's naturally aspirated V12 machines were more efficient, simpler, and better suited to longer races with fewer pit stops. The era of front-engine cars was approaching its end, and within a few short years, the mid-engine revolution would arrive, sparked by brands like Cooper and Lotus. By 1952, Alfa Romeo decided to withdraw from Formula One, citing financial constraints and the need to modernize its operations. So the 159 was a swan song of sorts, a glorious final note for Alfa Romeo's first era of motorsport dominance. It was a mechanical relic made competitive purely through talent, ingenuity, and willpower. Today, it is remembered as the last of the Grand Prix giants, an icon that closed one chapter of racing history and paved the way for another. 5. IT's influence is still felt in Alfa Romeo's racing legacy. The Alfetta 159 is a foundational part of Alfa Romeo's motorsport DNA, a reminder of when the company stood at the pinnacle of racing. While Alfa Romeo has experienced many changes over the decades, the spirit of the 159 continues to shape its brand identity. Even today, Alfa's involvement in Formula One, such as its partnership with Sauber and branding in recent years, often references the historic achievements of cars like the 159. The term Alfetta was later used by Alfa Romeo for a production sedan and coupe in the 1970s and 1980s, directly inspired by the performance image and engineering prestige of the 158-159 lineage. This wasn't just clever branding. It was a declaration of continuity, showing that the company's past glories weren't forgotten, and that the pursuit of performance still ran deep in its core. In museums, documentaries, and classic racing events like Goodwood Revival, the 159 continues to be celebrated and revered. It's a car that symbolizes innovation, bravery, and the competitive spirit of post-war Europe. For Alfa Romeo, it remains one of the brightest jewels in a racing crown, a standard of excellence that continues to define the company's ambitions on the track and beyond. The Alfa Romeo Alfetta 159 was not just a Formula One car, it was a cultural and historical landmark in the evolution of motorsport. As the final evolution of a pre-war platform, it proved that brilliant engineering and daring design could still dominate even in a changing world. Its power, speed, and contribution to Fangio's legacy made it a legend of the sport. Beyond its technical specs, the 159 represents the soul of Alfa Romeo. Relentless innovation, courage in the face of competition, and an unwavering passion for excellence. As the last of its kind, it left behind a legacy that still inspires engineers, drivers, and fans. For anyone who appreciates the golden era of racing, the Alfetta 159 stands as a timeless tribute to one of the most thrilling and transformative periods in Formula One history. And you, would you have one of these? Comment and subscribe.